I want to see. I honestly wanted to see these peer-reviewed fucking studies that he's got of this shit because it'll be fucking hilarious. Just
You want
oh
them? I have
god.
them.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hi, you've come on to debate the Amos E's today. Is that right? His
Yeah, I
peer-reviewed
guess.
studies you got?
Well, the biggest contention I had was with the studies that he chose to use for his points, and if you want them, I actually have all of them.
Oh, link me.
Right
Link me.
there.
Oh,
I put them
beautiful.
in the side
I
link
see. I see.
in the group chat.
NCBI, beautiful. Let's have a look through these.
Hmm. I managed to get them before his entire website went down this morning. I believe that was at 7:50 Eastern Standard Time. And then it went down, or at least I saw that the website went down. I think it was right before the Kumite that I noticed. And I DM'd Andy about it when I noticed it.
Oh wow, is this really what you said?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm listening to you and just reading this. This is hilarious.
So apparently they're blaming you.
Oh shit. My bad.
Well, the thoughts are to blame for everything. So
That's it. You turned up. You took his fucking citation and went flag.
I did no such thing. I spent the entire morning actually just reading through them. And while they are technically legitimate,
Oh yeah.
they are legitimate, but they don't say what it is that Amos wants them to say necessarily.
Yeah. I can kind of see that as I'm going through, I'm just reading through this one from the .gov.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it? So what is his new stance on this, Weebo? Because I may have missed it. Last time I spoke, like actually had a conversation with him, he was still talking about baby sucking dick. So
So my exposure to Amos's the last video that I made was also when he was talking about baby sucking dick as well. And I that was the last time that I heard Amos in the sphere of the debate on YouTube. But then I guess he resurfaced in the last weekend or so, or in the last week, and he was on Dankula's channel, and I was listening to what he was saying, and I got a little bit peeved, so I decided to look into his sources, because a lot of what Dankula versus Amos was happening was it was anecdotal, yes, versus I have all these peer-reviewed things and peer-reviewed studies and peer-reviewed citations that say this, this, and this. And so I was curious because, that's what I do. And so I went to look at them, and I found that they don't actually say what Amos wants them to say necessarily. For one, I looked at the age range for all of the studies, and a lot of them are from like 1 to 18, 5 to 18, 16 to 18, or what have you, which is a very wide range, especially when you're making the case that this is what makes pedophilia okay.
the abstract of one of these is just looking at delinquency. What about degeneracy? I have to ask that, like, because we're talking about people like delinquency. No, but really, that's the entire app. Is that all it looks like?
Mm-hmm.
No, fuck that. I'm not even going through that. That's not even a good point. Juvenile delinquency. Don't be retarded. It's after they're at juvenile. What's this one? Study began in 1972. All right, let's have a look at this.
The last one, though, I believe it's I only looked through like a little bit of it, but I think it's a meta-analysis of like 30 different studies, and it's well, one, there's no actual like bibliography where everything is cited out in the way that you would want it to, so you could easily find each study and double check to make sure that's actually what it says. So I didn't even bother going through that and debunking it.
No, I can understand that. I'm looking through this now, and it's 30 studies of the impact of childhood incest, childhood incest, and sexual encounters with adults were analyzed. Fucking hell, table 17.
All right, yo, I'm gonna send him the link.
Okay.
I'm just reading through these things.
But if you're enjoying the show, remember to hit like. Help support the show.
Hasn't gotten good yet, so.
Here goes nothing.
Try this. Hit a like if you don't like pedophiles. There you go. We'll see.
Let's put it by sides. Let's see. People against pedophiles, thumbs up. People for pedophilia, thumbs down.
We already have over 200 people who are down for pedophiles.
Terrible.
The
You
fucking likes just
monsters.
shut up. People are like, fuck
I
you.
swear.
Oh, fuck.
Amos.
Hey, dude. How's
Hey.
it going?
Hey, your mic is really low, dude.
Can you hear now?
A bit louder.
Okay, does it work now?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
All
I
right.
didn't. Yeah, why are you blaming me for getting your site removed?
Okay, so I'm not sure it's either. So yeah, if you guys didn't know, like my website just got taken down, the one which linked all the studies supporting pedophilia. Okay, what the fuck? It's either Dankula's audience or your audience, and it's like it feels dirty, cause it's like only like what 10 minutes ago I found out, and then I just got on the stream. It's like what the fuck? Then now like I'm in this flustered state, and I have to like debate all 4 of you. It's like it feels fucking dirty. Now
I'm
it
staying out
may
of
be
this, by the
Dankula's.
way.
I don't know if it's Dankula's audience or Warski's audience, but what the fuck, man?
I didn't link your website. I didn't tell anyone about your website. I didn't tweet about it. I didn't know you had a website until this morning.
No, you sent studies right on your stream that I had. The
Amos.
studies were on the website, so
Amos.
Did I link it? Did I tell people to do anything to it? No.
that's where the studies were, dude. But you know,
it was
Yeah.
removed apparently before the show started because
Yeah.
a Weebo here said that
I
his
noticed it.
site was done. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, whether it's Warski or Dankula,
It was down
It's
before the show even started, dude.
sure, buddy. Yeah, no, dude. I'm saying, yeah. I'm really not sure about that. Like, do you guys? Whatever, dude. But
I mean, whatever. I'm telling you the truth, dude.
How do you
Why
know
would I
it was
lie
taken?
about this shit?
Dude,
sorry,
honestly,
I'm
I was
just
kind of
like-
pissed off. I actually was happy that Weebo could actually post them in the side chat before these citationed links, because at least they're still around. If you need those links, I'm sure she can post them again for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, Andy. No, I'm just pissed off because Dankula has a toxic fan base. You have a toxic fan base. If it was linked, if I was on your
and your fan base,
Toxic.
a bunch of pedophiles.
It is.
Toxic!
Dude, motherfucker, there's no way you can argue that what Dankula's fan base is less toxic than yours. You have by
I
far
think
the
we can
most toxic
definitely
fan
argue that
base.
your fan base is full of probably a lot of pedophiles, though. So probably
It
more.
will not fucking report websites to be taken down.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
but they'll fuck kids.
they won't fuck.
Yeah, I think there's a crucial difference in
a
morality
little
there.
bit different.
Dude, motherfucker. Dude, website got taken down. This is fucking dirty, dude. What the hell? And then it just happened like
I'm not
a few minutes
condoning it
before.
at
What
all,
the hell?
It's not good that happened. No one here is happy that happened to you. Realize
Yeah.
that.
What the fuck, man? But let me tell you, Warski, if I was on your stream first, your fans would do the same thing, and my website would have been probably taken down even faster than when I was on Dankula. So yeah, no, I'm just pissed off that like your followers are like that.
What are you
What the
talking
fuck?
about?
Amos,
Then
what do you want them to do?
Then if you knew that would happen, then why
No.
would you come in the first place?
I'm just fucking expressing displeasure that your fan bases fucking suck.
My
Okay,
fan
okay.
base didn't
What
do
the fuck?
shit.
That's it. And like I think people are
You're
aware that
putting
your fan
guilt
base
before
fucking
anything
suck.
even fucking happened. I didn't link your shit at all.
Warski, you fucking platform white supremacists, letting them spread fucking lots of horrible shit on your fucking platform.
So what?
Barely chat. Then you're promoting their ideas, even though you don't believe in it. You're like fucking Ruben, just a blank slate when people just make use of you.
Yeah, I had
Come
people. I had people fucking debate. You think it's okay to fucking support pedophilia?
No.
You're fine with
Don't
that.
talk
You're
about.
fine-
We'll,
hang on,
no,
you're
no.
fine-
We'll
you're fine with the
debate.
free speech.
You
You're fine
piece
with
of
free
shit.
speech when it
fucking
comes to
piece of
fucking kids, but God
We'll
forbid
debate.
politics.
Yeah. And then you're harming hundreds of millions of pedophiles, putting them 10 to 15 years in prison, you scumbag piece of shit. I'm not talking about pedophilia right now. I'm talking about platforming pieces of shit
fuck
on
you.
challenge, you scumbag
Oh
piece of shit.
yeah. So I would
Fucking
rather live in a neighborhood
asshole.
full of white supremacists than fucking a neighborhood full of fucking
No.
pedophiles.
Don't go to
Can I
pedophiles
just
yet.
clarify? No. Before you fucking came on, Amos, you know how many people were sat here saying, "Oh, Amos, he's a piece of shit and stuff." Why are you platforming Andy? And just in the same way that people said the same shit about Richard Spencer, and I called that shit out as well because it's not about deplatforming; it's about having the discussion and the
No.
conversation.
Okay,
And Andy
well,
fucking understands that. and
hold
you
on,
should
hold
fucking
on.
understand that.
Hold on. We'll talk about me later, and I'll argue why you should platform me. But you, Andy Warski, you disagree that white supremacists. You agree that white supremacists aren't good, right?
Well, yeah. I don't think you should be.
So why the
fucking
fuck do you
racist.
platform them, you scumbag piece of shit?
Because I had people
Fucking
debate them, you fucking retard.
That's not
You
how
said-
it works, dude.
Wait,
Like, if
You,
buddy,
wait, one
what's-
second. You came on the show and you start bitching. Oh, my website was taken down because your toxic fan base. But don't platform this ideology. Go fuck yourself. You either
Platform
want it all or you want
ideologies
it, or you want none of
platform
it.
ideologies
Either-
are good. They
either
are
you
good.
want all
My
of it-
ideologies are good, buddy.
No,
Fuck
they're
it.
not.
Yeah.
Not good. you
Disagree.
stupid Fuck. What are you
Buddy,
talking
buddy.
about?
I'm talking about you platforming fucking white supremacists.
Yeah, I'm talking about you platforming
Buddy.
fucking kids, you retard.
Warski.
You little bitch. Oh, what? Oh, white supremacists hurt your fucking feelings? Better than fucking children, you retard.
Don't keep on changing the framework, Warski. I'm talking about buddy.
Fuck you, buddy.
Warski.
Not your fucking buddy. Fuck out of here. What the fuck are you talking about?
You just follow me right here. If you have footage where the white supremacist seems like he comes out on top, and then you have it on your channel,
I
what they're
challenged them
doing-
and I debated them, and also I had people on to
and then
debate
you
them as
and then
well.
you, and then you make
just
them
go
look like women. So, hey,
pro fucking Nambla.
Didn't you
Pro
send
fucking
child
kid-
porn to people?
no. You all keep on talking about pedophilia, which we will get to
Oh,
for the
right.
next
Okay, so
1
we
hour.
can't talk
All
about
right.
that. Well, we'll have a go at Andy
Well, you're
because
gonna be a little
Cog.
bitch about other people.
All right.
has white supremacists on his channel.
Cog.
But at the same time, he'll platform someone like you, and you don't understand why that's.
Hey.
That's totally fine, though. Yeah.
Hey, yo,
Because
Cog.
I'm right and the white supremacists are wrong, you piece of shit. I'm just talking about white
You're not
supremacists.
right. Fucking hell.
All right, Cog. Let him and Andy go at it
Promoting
real
fucking
quick.
racism. So, but yeah, let's debate pedophilia, scumbags.
Scumbags, you're the fucking scumbag. Oh, well, this one person's ideology. Why are you platforming them? But yeah, pro Nambla, you fucking sick bastard.
Yeah, promote
What
me
the fuck
because
are you
I'm
talking
good.
about?
Promote Richard Spencer. That's the difference. A difference in ideology. I'm
Richard
not a racist.
Spencer wants a white ethno state. He's not, and if he doesn't get it, he's not going to do anything about it. You are
He's gonna do
encouraging
something.
people to rape children, so don't even compare the fucking two.
So I have
Dummy.
studies which show that you lump all underage sex as rape is complete and absolute bullshit.
Which study says
the
that?
long-
Amy?
The ones which you link right here, and I'll also link you okay,
Um,
I'll link you the studies because my website got taken down and that's like way more comprehensive. Hopefully you can post it in the chat or the comment section. Way more comprehensive list of studies in this ghost bin. But essentially, they say that majority of the long-term harms of most minor adult sexual relationships are harmless and actually beneficial. Those are studies, those are facts. What is your rebuttal?
I think Weebo, you were researching his studies, right?
Yeah, I was looking at some of the studies. Of the 7 ones that were on your website, because those are the ones that I'm very familiar with. Actually, one of them is no longer available at the link that was provided. So that's interesting, and that's the parameters of sexual contact of boys with women. I think that was the prison and college study that you cited. Of the rest of them, the childhood sexual abuse and socio-cultural context of sexual risk among adult Latino, gay, and bisexual men. Just my general thoughts on that. One, the study neglects to state whether or not the premature sex occurred with an adult or with a child of a similar age, which is like instantaneously, it discludes it from the pretext of it being in support of pedophilia, since that was your premise.
Hold on, there isn't definitely an age difference gap in that
No,
study.
there is an age difference.
So what are you talking about?
But they don't specify what the age of the perpetrator was, as opposed to who the age of the victim was. Now,
Because it's mostly like implied that it's adults. The age difference is more than 5. That's why they did that
it
study.
doesn't-
What you want to explicitly state whether he's 30 years old or 40 years old? Like they're all
well,
adults.
it would be ideal to know the age of who the perpetrator is, because you can be, as you have stated before, a pedophile who is underage, a minor, correct?
So you think that because they left out the specific age of those adults, it somehow means that what? They're not actually adults. They're lying that it's actually adults doing the sexual.
She's saying that it has a different effect on the child if it's like a 40-year-old man fucking an 11-year-old in comparison to an 18-year-old kid, like an 18-year-old young adult. Do you see the difference?
It's referring to people
Definitely.
over the age of 30 and 40. And also, if you want something even more specific, I linked even more studies. There's Areola et al. rethinking timing of first sex and delinquency. I think those studies.
Yes, I know, and we're going to
they-
go through
yeah.
all of those.
Yeah, and all of
I have
them, they
notes on
show.
all of the studies.
But what are you doubting that there's an age difference in those studies?
No,
The
I'm not
long-term-
doubting. I'm not doubting that there's an
Then-
age difference.
then what
I'm
are you trying to say?
asking what the specific age difference was, what the range was between one, the victims, and two, the perpetrators. Exactly. I mean, we don't know
Is it
per.
15 to 6? Is it like in the UK 15 to 16, in the US 17 to 18? Is it that, or is it like a large difference, like 11?
There is a large difference, dude.
No, I'm
there-
asking what the age of the
Yeah, what is it?
predator was when they had sex with the child. Was it a teenager having sex with a younger teenager, or was it an adult having
And
sex?
it's an adult. I'm pretty sure it's an adult. And,
Well,
and
I
if
did
you want,
not see that in the
Yeah,
source.
pretty sure isn't the actual like. Show it. Can you demonstrate that?
the other studies show
It's
that.
important that we know exactly what the
Wait,
age
you
of the predator was, because, for instance, say having sex, 14-year-old having sex with another 14-year-old, it's a lot different than a 21-year-old having sex with a 14-year-old.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they're referring to like a
Psychologically, the
huge.
effects on the child are a lot different, and the ramifications are definitely going to be a lot different later on in life.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
So you've read all the studies, and all of them do not specify the exact
No,
age
no, no,
of
no,
the
no.
adult.
I was just
What,
going. through-
that's just not true.
Amos, you are putting words in my mouth that I did not say. I said
Okay.
specifically with regards to the childhood sexual abuse and sociocultural context of sexual risk among adult Latino, gay, and bisexual men. That is the study I am referring to. I'm going point
But
by
there,
point.
but
Study
there are
by study.
but there are studies that shows that there's an age difference, right? You do not doubt that there's an age difference.
No,
right?
I do not doubt that there's
Okay, then there you go. So why are you
I-
making that point to try to make yourself? You're making that point to try to make me seem less credible. What the fuck are you doing?
No.
You don't need to doubt that there's an age
clarify,
Amos,
to clarify.
What do you mean to
I-
clarify? You're just saying you already don't doubt it. There's an age
You're
difference.
You're getting triggered over it. You're not understanding
No,
what
I'm-
she's saying.
yeah, I'm
to you.
getting triggered.
You've
It's
just
trying
said,
to
you've just said, no,
credible,
you've
you
just said
said.
you understand the difference between a person who's 14 having sex with a 14-year-old and a 14 with 21. You understand the difference, right? You get
Of
that,
course.
right? So why? So that's exactly, and your results are based on people that have had sex with adults. So when you're asking for the age range and you know there's a
Yeah,
difference
yeah.
between it, then that's why she's asking you. How does
But
that
I'm
not make
saying,
sense to you?
but as I mentioned before, other studies specifically specify the age difference. Not only that, you guys don't even doubt that these studies don't has they don't doubt that it's a small age difference. Y'all think that there's still a huge age difference. So the only reason why you're saying that is to make me seem like I'm less credible by saying, oh yeah, they should have specified that even more. Such
No,
a
no, no,
dirty.
Amos,
Yeah,
Amos,
you actually
that's
think there's
completely what you're doing,
you actually
scumbag.
think there's a small age difference in comparison. That's the difference. If you
Amos.
think
Okay,
about it.
so can you
I'm
give
going-
can you give counter studies on why you think these studies are wrong, please? Instead of come on. Instead of what is lacking in trying, dirty techniques, dude.
Okay. I have a meta-analytic review, the long-term sequelae of childhood sexual abuse in women. The authors conducted a meta-analytic review of the relationship between a history of child abuse and psychological problems in adult women in 38 studies, meeting rigorous research criteria. Across all symptoms, a significant association was found between history of child sexual abuse and adult symptomatology. Sorry, I'm not the best reader. Analysis.
Can you just, with all due respect, can you just quote the relevant parts and what association did it?
Oh, I am quoting
I
the
don't-
relevant
yeah.
parts. The relevant parts
Yeah.
are exactly what makes up this study. Analysis of the role of moderating variables indicated the associations were stronger among subjects recruited, yada, yada. When individual symptoms domains were examined, anxiety, anger, depression, re-victimization, self-mutilation, sexual problems, substance abuse, suicidality, impairment of self-concept, interpersonal...
Yeah. Don't need to be so
obsession-
long-winded. You're basically saying it's harm. Is that the
I
study
am-
from the American
what-
Psychological Association? Is that's the most cited one?
No, this is... hang on. Let me get a direct link to it.
All right. So I know. Okay. Yeah, I know.
Deborah A. Newman, Beth M. Housekamp. Let me see. Where is the citation?
I'm surprised you didn't link the American Psychological Association because that's the most.
Oh, I have a
popular.
whole
Yeah.
bunch of citations, Amos.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna explain why they're wrong. That
This
is
is
why.
a meta-analysis of 38 different studies.
Yeah, of course.
Why are all 38 wrong?
Yeah, and I also have a meta-analysis, Ryan et al. 1998, with a sample size of 35,000 people, and it shows the complete opposite results. So it's not. So we have to look at the methodology, and the methodology for those studies.
That's exactly what she was asking you about before. Why do you not understand that?
Yeah. So let's argue methodology, and I'll tell you why your studies
I was
are flawed.
just arguing methodology, and you asked me to bring up a counter study. So can we go back to your initial studies that you are trying to defend and make?
No, hold on.
Using
You basically wait. Hold on. You mentioned that those studies, they indicate that all sex below the age of 18 or 12, they have negative effects. So I have a counter study. It's basically the most famous study, Ryan et al. 1998, sample size of 12,000, 35,000. They made the distinction between consensual sex and non-consensual sex. And they say that any sex below the age of 18, if you just lump them all to child sexual abuse, is very flawed.
what was the name of the study again?
Ryan et al. 1998.
The actual title, though.
Ryan et al. 1998.
That's not a title. That is a who made it and what year.
No,
that doesn't tell me what exactly it's about.
Go Wikipedia. Ryan et al. 1998. That is, then you'll find it way more easier. And if you want to,
1988, 1998.
Okay, so
98 or 88?
1998. Okay, so I'm going to explain why the mainstream definitions of child sexual abuse is wrong. So you lump so firstly, the sample sizes that they get from those studies, it's all from either psychotherapy clinics from children who actually got raped. So all of it is not forced sex. All of it is forced sex. It's not consensual sex. They don't make the distinction. All of those people, you get it from psychotherapy clinics, and they actually got forced sex and rape. Obviously, it would be skewed. The results would be skewed, and then you think that all underage sex was negative. Another thing. So what?
Study that I have
look
right
at the
here.
methodology. So what? Is it not from a clinic? It's
Hang on.
from a psychotherapy.
The study that's showing up right here is characterization of the mitochondrial intermembrane translocase complex, the time 23p hydrophonic. Obviously, this is not what it exactly is.
Just pick out the relevant parts, Weebo.
It's characterization of the mitochondrial intermembrane translocase complex. Is what exactly?
Just pick out the relevant parts, Weebo.
The relevant parts.
What does mitochondria whatever have to do with anything? Just pick out the statistics. I'm saying that lots of.
Just let her finish. Just let her fucking finish.
Do you think she's relevant, Worski?
I'm asking which study it is that you want me to look at, and I don't think that the study that you're giving me, the citation, is the actual study that you want me to look at. So can you actually give me the title or something else?
It's fucking Ryan et al. 1998. Okay, you guys, the Google chat, you can basically, you go to my link, you just scroll down, and you can see it's a meta-analytic examination of assumed properties of child sexual abuse using college samples. Ryan et al. 1998.
Oh, Ryan et al. I thought you were saying Ryan. Okay.
Okay. So if you take it all from psychotherapy clinics, then it's really flawed because all of it is forced sex. You don't make the distinction between forced sex and consensual sex between adults and children. If you have a much better methodology where it's randomized, where you have a sample size of a few thousand people, and then you pick out a random crowd of people, and then you ask them with non-biased terms, what we find out is that a clear majority of sexual relationships between adults and minors is consensual and is actually mutually beneficial. Those are facts.
I'm looking at the abstract from the website NCBI for this specific study, and it says that an analysis revealed that students with child sexual abuse were on average slightly less well-adjusted than controls. However, this poor adjustment could not be attributed to child sexual abuse because familial environment was consistently confounded with child sexual abuse. Familial environment explained considered more adjusted.
Dude, just pick out the relevant studies. Dude, I don't want the show is gonna be boring if you just read the study at verbatim. And like I linked the study before.
Hey, can I just step in here? You've literally just said, hey, go and find this part here on this thingy here. And now you're just like, just pick out the relevant part. Just pick out the relevant part. I know you've not read it before. Pick out the relevant part.
I just did do that. And what it's telling me is that we can't actually know for sure because of the familial environment versus child sexual abuse. Because familial environment has familial familial environment has prevalence for child sexual abuse. So what you're saying is we can't know for sure if that is the case, and that is why
there's way more claims in Ryan et al. 1998. It's very dense. But I think what you're referring to there is that much of the negative perception, because many children, they have perfectly consensual acts with adults. Then once they grow up, they think that it's negative, not because the act itself during that time, as when they're children, is harmful. It's because they were motivated by their surroundings, by their family, saying that underage sex is bad. Then they think that the sexual act was harmful when it really isn't. Do you understand? If we lived in an ideal society, the sexual act would not be considered harmful.
Would it though?
The consensual act, definitely.
Okay,
so
say,
that's the distinction.
Hang on. Say a child decides to consent to sex, and the sex happens. Now, what happens when you actually have sex with a child who actually can't physically take that sex act, in the sense that it's too much for them to actually handle?
Then you don't give them. Then you don't give them
penetration. Too scared to say no, or what if they're too scared to say no?
Exactly, that too.
Okay,
like
hold on.
Okay. You're under the assumption that every kid's like, yeah, I'm down for some dick.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I'll deal with Weebo's point first. Firstly, I made the distinction between penetration and sexual acts. Sexual acts is just non-penetrative sex, like making out, touching of genitals, intercrural sexual relationships. You don't penetrate. I think it's ideal, obviously. Do not penetrate them until the age of 12. Otherwise, you probably hurt them. So obviously, you can have sexual acts with non-penetrative sex with any age, even like babies. They can touch your dick. That's a sexual act. That's fine. That's completely fine. Now, in terms of Andy, okay. So
babies touching your dick. Babies don't have object permanence. We've gone through this, Amos. Babies don't have object permanence. You know what object? Do you know what it is? We fucking spoke about this 2 years ago, you faggot. You know what object permanence is?
Piece of shit! Don't interrupt.
Do you know what object permanence is? You dumb cunt.
Okay.
Do you know what object permanence is? Babies can touch dicks and it's all fine.
Okay.
What the fuck is wrong with you, you weirdo?
You ad hominem piece of shit. I'll go to your point later.
You fucking dumb cunt.
And I'm the one triggered here. Okay, Andy.
You've just said babies can touch dicks. That's okay. That's a sexual. That's fine. No, it's not. They don't understand object permanence. We discussed this 2 years ago. You dumb cunt.
I'll ignore that and answer.
Ignore it because ignore it. Ignore object permanence. Ignore something that is a brain development thing of everyone in the world. You fucking
don't answer what I said, and then go on to that. Yeah.
There's enough heat in this fucking room. We don't need cognitive thought menstruating all over this chat. Okay, Andy. Now you said you're talking about disclosure as in children are unable to articulate distress. Yeah, that's just completely untrue. In fact, they did a study where essentially they say that children, they disclose their sexual acts with adults at an 80% rate. Compared to adults, they have sexual acts as a child. Then when they grow up, they're far less likely than children to disclose their sexual act when they're a child. That's a 31 to 45% rate. So you might think that, children are just retarded. They aren't able to articulate when they're abused. That completely goes against the fucking consensus and the research, dude. In fact, children are more likely to disclose.
Yeah. Okay, all right, fair enough. But you're under the assumption that all the people who want to fuck kids are going to try and go, he shook his head. You know what? Like you're acting like all pedophiles are polite. You know what?
No.
Little John
I never said that.
Doesn't want to. Yeah. So if we lower the age of consent to whatever the fuck you want, whatever
abolish.
It is.
Can I just also throw your study that you sent here, by the way? You've got a definition. The definition here also includes non-contact sexual experiences in your study. Go and check the definitions.
Yeah, because they made the distinction. Obviously, there's a difference between consensual sex and forced sex, and
This is non-contact sexual experiences.
Yeah, okay. So non-contact.
Verbal.
Hey, real fast.
What's wrong with that? So.
It's verbal. It's words are different.
Let me finish my thought.
Hey, there's already many people going on at once. Take turns, all right? Take turns.
Yeah, I want to finish mine. Shut up.
Yeah, go ahead. Go.
Okay. I want to say was, so you're saying kids can, say when they're in distress, right? Now, yeah. But if a kid is afraid, you know, and they're alone with this person. They might not do anything, or their distress is very minimal. And you're assuming that all pedophiles are polite and like, well, Nancy doesn't want to suck my dick, so I'm going to stop. No, a lot of pedos are disgusting. Well, I'm sorry. All pedos are disgusting, despicable human pieces of shit, and don't give a fuck. And don't give a fuck about the kids' feelings. They just want to get their fucking dick wet.
Yeah, that's completely untrue. Okay, so firstly, I never said that all pedos are bad. All pedos are good. A minority is bad, just like how a minority of adults are bad.
How do you know a minority is bad?
Hold on. Let me give me a minute to refute all your points, okay? Because you gave me 3 points at once. I want to refute them. All right, then you can counter argue. Okay, so obviously a minority of pedophiles, people, would be bad, similar to adults. But the studies show that pedophiles, like majority of people, do not want to engage in non-consensual sex or rape. Majority of pedophiles, and of course, children are probably more prone to manipulation. You know, they be seduced to sexual acts probably more likely than an adult. But the facts are that even though they're more prone to manipulation, the clear majority, over 80% of sexual acts between an adult and minor, is still harmless. It's perfectly beneficial. So that's the thing. Like there, you know, there's problems with we don't have age of consent laws for hugging, but some adult, you know, could non-consensually hug a child and the child can feel distress, but it doesn't matter because a large majority, a clear majority of people, you know, don't hug until the child is distressed. And also, they make the distinction. You gave the example of the child in the room and he's not sure what to do. As I said, that is a clear minority of cases. They made the distinction between passive consent, whether or not the child knows what he's going to indulge in to an extent, and you know, complete consent. When the child knows what the sexual act is to an extent, then he indulges with it with an adult. They made the distinction, and if it's passive consent, then, you know, there is mild distress in a child, but when it's perfectly consensual and fine, which is the majority of cases, then it's perfectly harmless. Those are facts.
How do you know it's a majority of cases?
Because I cited you all these motherfucking studies. And
which study?
Which are fucking...
That in majority
which studies?
Give me the
study is it? Which
study that claims that all of the, or a majority of them are consensual?
It's motherfucker. It's right here.
What's it called? There's like fucking 40 studies. What's the one particular one? So I don't have to read through fucking 40 studies.
I'll go. You know what? Fucking hell, dude.
I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I'm reading through one of his studies right now, and it even gets to the point where it says in here, and this is the study that's combined many studies again, where 73% are defining CSA to include both contact and non-contact. That's exhibitionism. Sexual experiences, 24% restrict their definition to contact experiences only. You've got, in fact, the mini percentages on 20% of the studies restrict their definition to CSA unwanted sexual experiences. 70% define sexual experiences to be CSA if a sizable age disparity existed between the child and another person.
Okay, Andy,
defined to include contact and non-contact.
Yeah, what you just said, how the hell does it contradict my point? Okay, Andy, I linked you Ariel.
Hang on. If you're going to ask a question, let him answer first, okay, Amos?
Non-contact. Do you understand what that means?
Yeah. What? Huh?
Yeah, good.
What the hell are you talking about? Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
This is people perceiving it in its sexual experience from like, what, a wink or something like that? What it's non-contact. It's not that this person hasn't actually done anything to them.
Amos, the definition is so broad that it has literally encompassed the whole span of behaviors that it shouldn't if it is sexual contact in the traditional sense of what we are actually...
Buddy, when I linked... If you want a super clear... I linked Ryan et al. Because we were talking about this, showing the difference between forced sex and consensual sex. I think that is the most credible study. You want, in terms of long-term harm, I linked you. Okay, you see the group chat, Ariola et al. Andy, you can take a look. A sample size of over 900 people, bisexual gay men. They show that a clear majority, over 80% of sexual acts between adults and minors, perfectly harmless. And it will go up to the 90s if we abolish age of consent for sex.
Well, I have a study for you as well.
Which shows that majority, and that's from probably American Psychological Association or whatever.
No, actually, it's not a link. It's just an actual study with the actual APA format
And those
but I can quote it for you. A total of 505 patients were enrolled in the study, and 456 completed questionnaires were analyzed. Of these 442, 90% participants reported at least one traumatic event during their lifetime. The traumatic events were experienced as meaningful and severe at the time of occurrence. The effects.
Yeah, and that's because the methodology.
Hang on, Amos, do not interrupt me. The effects.
I'm going to stop you there because the methodology is flawed. Dude. You're just saying that it's wrong. Talk about the methodology.
Amos.
Talk about methodology.
Amos. If you want to have a debate, Amos, if you want to have a debate with people, then you have to actually hear out exactly what it is they're saying before you interrupt them. Do you understand me?
Yeah, okay. Go for it. But the methodology is flawed, so you're just
Amos. The effects of sexual and childhood emotional abuse remained very intense throughout the victim's life and were viewed as powerful, significant experiences. On the other hand, traumatic experiences such as natural disasters and battle trauma were associated with long-term effects of relatively low intensity. Do you understand what this says?
That's because they clump all the sexual acts below the age of 18.
So
you're only looking at forced sex. You're not making the methodology is false because they're either from psychological clinics where all the people where you get from psychological clinics, they're going for treatment. They are in forced sex. That is a completely biased sample. Then if you take it from a randomized group of people with a sample size of thousands of people, do you understand that?
How do you know what the methodology?
The psychotherapy clinics. You lump all sexual acts below the age of 18 as forced sex, which is complete garbage. There's a difference between forced sex and consensual sex. That's why I say that the methodology is flawed, motherfucker.
Okay, but you actually know what the methodology of the study is? Because, like, I didn't even cite the actual study for you yet. I just gave you the link.
Go. Okay, come on. Mention the methodology. I'm pretty sure it's either from psychotherapy clinics or it's a very biased questionnaire.
The Israeli Journal of Psychiatric and Related Sciences. Okay.
There's something funny. Oh, let me. If you guys can humor me for about 30 seconds. Okay.
Oh, I'm humoring you. All right.
So this is, thank you, baby. Okay, so this is what happens when this is a quote. This is what happens when you lump all underage sex as child abuse, complete garbage. This is what happens. This is a quote from a study. Quote, the statutory rape survivors, unsatisfied with the multiple choices for defining the relations offered in the questionnaire, entered in the open-ended space their own description of the relations, using terms such as bursting with joy, proud, fascinated, scary fun, secretive, loving, and accepting. So even the children, there's obviously a study which, wants them to say that, oh, I've been traumatized. But then even the children themselves, they're like, fuck this. Our relationship with the adult is actually good, which it is. Most of them are. Isn't that funny? So you guys get the quote, right?
You are all fucking over the place. I like how whenever it is that we actually debunk or bring up an alternate study, you talk about how the methodology is flawed, and then you just redirect the conversation in a completely different direction.
No, because the methodology is flawed. That's the problem. Because if you quote a study where
methodologies, you don't even know what the fuck the methodology is, Amos.
Yeah, you're assuming that the methodology of whatever you linked us is not flawed at all.
No, because I actually looked at the methodology. And of
every single study out there that has ever existed, you know exactly what the methodology is. You can actually cite for me exactly what the method was here in the abstract that I am looking at correctly right now for.
Baby.
Did you just say baby?
Oh, you fucking creepy pedo mother.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm gonna fuck you now because you're a fucking baby. Because I'm the Asian.
Gonad.
Okay. Now, buddy. I only know that the methodology for the citations that I cited, like the studies that I cited, they're good. I read them, and we can discuss why the methodologies are good, and I can say why the methodologies of your studies are flawed because the results that are formed, they completely contradict my studies, and also I'm gonna explain. They completely contradict my studies, and I've read many other studies which comes to the same results with the same exact biased methodology of just picking out.
The methodology is a fucking survey, Amos. You use the same exact kind of methodology in your children disclosures of sexual abuse in population-based samples. Fucking
what the hell are you talking about?
I'm looking at it. Finnish child victim survey concerning experiences of violence. And then I'm looking at mine, and it's basically the same methodology.
Find a study that doesn't clump all underage sex as forced sex. Then we'll talk.
Jesus Christ, you fucking twink.
No, that's the difference. You don't make the distinction like the studies which the studies that I cite, which are more non-biased.
Yours is a survey, mine is a survey. How is the methodology any fucking different, Amos?
Because yours, you keep on clumping all sex below the age of 18 as underage, as a forced sex. You need to make the distinction.
And
you need to use non-biased.
I linked in all
hang on.
underage sex as consensual.
As I said, okay, you're talking about. Hold on, Weebo. You're talking about surveys, right? Okay,
yeah.
The study that you literally it shows that you read it. It's called biased terminology effects and biased information processing in research on adult non-adult sexual interactions. Essentially,
I'm looking at children's disclosure of sexual abuse in population-based samples. That's a study I'm looking at right now. And you know what it says to me? It says that there was 55% and 6,269 sixth graders, and then ninth graders. The age of responses varied from 10 to 17 years. That's your study, okay? That's everything below the age of 18. And you want to tell me that my survey methodology is flawed because everything that I'm citing is under the age of 18?
No. But that's why I was about to link a study which basically tells you why your studies are flawed. Is because you use biased terms in your surveys.
Okay, no, I know. I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with that. But Amos, you have to understand, okay? Is that we're not debating terminology here. We are debating whether or not we are debating whether or not there are actual hazards of having sex with children in their long-term future.
Why don't you want to debate terminology? If you have biased terminologies in your methodology,
Amos, in the long run, the terminology long after the fact that they have been sexually abused, because let's be honest, they're reporting this many years after the fact. The terminology is not going to interpret for them exactly how they viewed their experience, because they've already made up their mind at the point that they are giving these responses.
Yes, buddy, when I mention terminology, I'm essentially saying, look, I already linked you to study the terminology, biased terminology effects and biased information processing. You use terms like sexual abuse, whether it's perverse, and your whole survey is just talking about whether or not you were sexually abused, Instead of you don't ever make the distinction between forced sex and consensual sex. The questionnaire is very biased. It will sway to your view no matter what.
You don't even.
That's the problem with the problem.
I don't even have access to the questionnaire, so I can't actually know specifically.
Oh, you didn't even see the questionnaire?
Yeah, you haven't either. So how can you actually say that the methodology is flawed? Amos.
So now, you haven't. You don't even know why your methodology is flawed.
Amos, how can you know that the methodology is flawed if we can't even see the questionnaire? Either of us.
This one, because of the fucking results.
What? Okay.
Let me tell you, if it contradicts. If a study contradicts something that is factually correct.
Hang on, you're going to take the results of the study and you're going to say that they are completely flawed based on the fact that they don't agree with what you think is the truth, right?
If somebody said that they did a research.
Do you see how biased that is?
And now I'm going to explain to you. If somebody did a research that the sky is green, when all the consensus says that the sky is white or blue, I don't know, white or blue. You say that the person who did the research saying that the sky is green, his methodology is flawed, right? Of course it's flawed. It contradicts the fucking consensus. It contradicts the studies with actual firm methodologies.
The consensus is not that child sexuality is a good thing. The consensus is the exact opposite. The popular consensus the popular consensus in psychology and modern day science with respect to child sexuality is that children engaging in sexual excursions pre-adolescent. Oh, sorry, I'm freaking out. Pre-adolescent.
Yeah, you're just saying that it's bad, and it's popular to say that it's bad.
No, I'm saying the popular scientific consensus is that pre-adolescent sexual engagement with adults.
Yeah, and the psychological journal. The psychological journal also said
overwhelmingly negative.
And the psychological journal also once said that homosexuality was a mental disorder. It's not about popularity. It's about which studies has the better methodology.
And you
that
know,
is more credible. That's more objective.
Too, but you know what? We've changed our minds since then. Next question.
And we're gonna change our minds on pedophilia too.
No, we've already changed our minds. The Greeks,
No.
the Romans, a whole bunch of subpar cultures back in the ancient days did that, and we've moved past that.
There are aspects of these subpar cultures.
Even your best buddy Islam did that.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, Islam, they're talking about forced sex and forced marriage. There's a distinction between consensual sex and Islam. I'm not fucking advocating the child sex and that's promoted by Islamic ideology. Don't fucking strawman me, you piece of shit.
Hey, they're just fucking kids though, right? Yeah.
Okay, so anybody? Okay, cognitive thought. You want to?
Well, what if she said it was okay? Babies can suck dicks, right? Fucking weirdo.
Do you have arguments?
Oh well, the baby reaching out and touching the dick is consensual. So she was very quiet, and then she just touched my dick. This child in this Islamic relationship. You fucking weirdo.
In an ideal sexually liberated society, babies would go around touching everybody's dick. You might not like it, but it's gonna happen. So
yeah, they're also gonna fucking touch hot stoves too because they have no self-control.
As I said, the difference.
Hang on. Amos, are you familiar with infant reflexes?
What? I don't know what that is.
Okay, obviously. Okay, so if you put something in an infant's hand, okay, they're going to grasp it because that's an infantile reflex. Okay, that is instinctual. Same thing if you put something near their cheek, they're going to turn their head and they're going to suckle on it because that's what they do. They are babies. They reflexively touch and grab onto things. You put a finger in a baby's hand, they're going to grab onto it. You put something near a baby's mouth, they're going to turn and suck on it because that's what babies do.
Yeah, so what? What's wrong?
They don't get taught how to suck on a tit to drink milk. No, that's instinctual for survival. That doesn't mean that they consented to sucking a fucking dick.
Okay, but whether they consent or they don't consent, the difference is harm. The difference is, obviously, like Andy, he just tweeted that, does a baby need to consent to giving diapers? I'm like, yeah, you're right. Probably not. Because it's not. Yeah, you said that. Yeah, babies don't need to consent to.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that was that one feminist who was saying like that we should have consent for changing babies' diapers.
Yeah,
but changing a diaper where you can get a fucking infection on your asshole is different than fucking a baby.
Yeah, it's different in terms of the actions, but I think the main distinction is
actions are everything.
Okay, the main distinction is whether or not the act causes harm. If, like a hug, if a sexual act of a child does not cause harm, then it should be fine. You're fine with hugs. You should not have a problem with sexual acts because just like a hug, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. You give the hot stove. I'm talking about the difference between a
hug and sex.
No, they're different actions, but both of them are beneficial. I linked you a book, Childhood Sexuality
what the fuck is wrong with you?
No,
buddy. A hug and sex are
not the same thing, and there are certain behaviors
there are similarities.
that children engage in as young as infants. Yeah, sure, okay. Children do have a tendency to touch themselves as young children, but that does not mean that they consent to having sex with a fucking adult. Okay.
They could, and most of them want to actually. So no, I linked you a book, Childhood Sexuality by Theo Sanford. It's not only just pleasurizing the pedophiles. The pedophiles won't hurt the children. Many toddlers, many babies, many young children, they do want to engage in sexual acts. Not only that, there's psychological
sexual acts. Hang on. When you specify sexual acts, which ones are you talking about? Because there is a very distinct difference. There are normal, common behaviors, and then there are rarely normal behaviors. So which ones specifically are you referring to, Amos? Because
intercrural sexual relations, touching of the genitals, touching each other naked, probably non-penetrative because you probably hurt the baby if you penetrate something to them. So yeah, probably want to
babies reaching out and grabbing things.
They're curious. Of course, they're going to reach out and grab something that's weird looking.
Okay, so let them go grab a dick. There's nothing wrong.
No, but you don't understand. It's not them. It's the child's going to do that instinctively because it's a child, and you're saying that's consent when it's not. It's just a child it's brain development of a baby, and you're sat there as an adult going, "Hey, I've got a dick in front of it. Oh, I hope it fucking reaches out to you, fucking sick bastard."
I think the difference is that, as I said, like Andy, because the consent thing is kind of like is a bit squabbly. If there is no harm involved in the action, you'd be okay with it, right? So, like a baby, you know, he touches a toy or he eats something, he's not fully aware of what he's eating, but you're not, you know, you wouldn't say that it's force feeding him. So if he touches a dick or he hugs somebody, and it's completely harmless act, you're not saying that he's, you know, you're invading the baby's privacy.
What about if that baby?
Yeah,
So obvious. So you're not okay with a person, an adult who's got an STD, fucking a baby, then?
I was just.
Oh, I have a problem with that, but that's a complete minority of cases. As I said,
but the child touching that dick riddled with genital warts is consenting, though, right?
No.
It's
That's a
not,
complete
because
straw man. That's a
because it's
complete
general.
straw man.
Complete
No,
That's a
it's
straw man.
Not because
No,
we've
it's a
added a
complete-
condition and you didn't clarify that condition didn't qualify.
That's
So
a
the
complete.
only
Okay,
thing
then I'm going to clarify, motherfucker. Buddy,
clarify that.
there's a
Go
difference.
ahead, do
As
it.
I said, when you lump, okay, HIV, all of that, you make it seem like, you know, sexual acts between an adult and child, you know, is always harmful. There's obviously a difference between spreading AIDS, obviously that's bad, and a completely consensual, mutually beneficial sexual act. And as I said, I gave you the studies. Only a minority of cases, 1-2%, you know, is actually harmful. So you're going to deprive the majority of cases. You're going to imprison hundreds of millions of people in prison when they've done absolutely no harm, and I am the fucking person who is a piece of shit? What the fuck are you talking about, you scumbag pieces of fuck?
Wait, what is this 2% you're talking about?
2% in the studies I showed.
2% with regards to what?
2% with regards to, you know, people spreading AIDS or whatever harmful diseases. You know, the point is, majority of sexual relationships, they're non-manipulative, they're consensual. Those are facts. You guys want to make up some fucking straw man? That's your problem. Tonkasaw, yeah. Tonkasaw or Andy, want to make a point?
Yeah, Tonka, you want to make a point?
Oh, Tonka's not here. Andy, I have to walk away for a minute. I have a question for you. What do you have to gain from all of this? Because this seems to have hurt you a lot for advocating for this pedophilia standpoint.
Hundreds of millions of people in the world are pedophiles. Hundreds of millions of people want to explore their sexuality because, you know, obviously there's people like sex, you know. So you restrict them like that, and you create a culture which discriminates hundreds of millions of people. Of course there's a problem with that. Of course I want to speak up for that. Why the fuck wouldn't I want to speak up?
Well, I'm asking what is in for you? Like, what personally do you gain from all of this?
The pleasure of helping out hundreds of millions of people. I'm not a pedophile myself, but yeah.
Where do you get the fact that there's hundreds of millions of people on the planet that are pedophiles? Amos, seriously.
They did a study on male pedophiles. I'm not
the one with only 80 participants?
No. What the hell are you talking about? I never linked
the one that you used in your original video that I debunked.
Complete. What the hell? I don't think that's from that study.
In your original video that I debunked.
What are you talking about? There's no one with 80 participants.
Sexual arousal and arousability to pedophilic stimuli.
Hold on. I'm not even talking about a study that I'm talking.
No. I'm referring to the study that you originally cited in your original video, and I have it right here if you would like to see it. Actually.
Oh, hold on. Now you're trying to strawman me here, referring to
no,
a study.
I am actually looking at the study that you used in your original video, the one that sparked this whole shenanigans. Okay, you remember that one? The original one that I responded to?
I'm not referring to that one. I'm referring to another one.
Okay.
Which because I think which has a much bigger sample size than 80 people. It basically says that it's fair to say that like I'm not familiar with female pedophiles, but pretty much like 1 in 10 or 1 in 5 of males are actually pedophiles. So from a conservative estimate, it's basically like hundreds of millions of people who are being discriminated. So that's pretty fucking bad. So,
what's that study?
I will link you the. Where do I have it now? I'll link you the. Oh yeah, here it is.
Hey, by the way, Amos, your the study that you linked that you said most kids are consenting to sex. It doesn't open. When I open it, it's some random Russian website that's asking for like a password.
Hold on. Let me Fucking hell.
Seems like a sketchy fucking website, actually.
Yeah, no, a lot of
yeah,
these are pretty.
laughed at its Russian to try to
Oh,
make me seem not
on
credible.
Ralph.
Sure.
Yes,
No,
yes.
what- no,
What-
It
what-
is.
no,
It
No,
is.
they
No,
look
dude.
sketchy.
Anyway.
What
No,
if I
dude.
walked in on here?
I'll link you. Yeah. I'll link
Yeah,
you
Ralph.
later.
We invited you.
Yeah, I'll
first
link
hour
you to
talk.
I'll link you to the study later, Weebo. I can't find it right now.
Okay, how
Yeah.
convenient.